Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Profitable Salon Owner Monthly webinar hosted by Vagaro Salon Software. We thank you all so much for being here. But listen, I do have a housekeeping note for you today. Catherine and I are going to ask that you hold all your questions because we've got a lot of information to get through. So we're asking if you would hold your questions to the very end and instead send us an email note to our email address that we will give you at the end, and we'll take care of that later because we're pretty excited about today's topic.
Yeah, and it's a big subject, and we have a lot of information to get through. We were a little worried that we wouldn't get through it all in an hour, so that's why we're asking you to hold your questions. So good morning, and let's get to it. And here we are, as ever, the two blondes, Eileen and Catherine. And I keep saying we're going to get a new picture done.
And
but
we keep, there's so many things to do.
I know. Anyway, today we are going to talk about consumer behavior,
which is actually a really huge topic. And I think that actually we've done a great job of breaking this all down into understandable sound bites. But here's the thing is, what is consumer behavior?
What is consumer behavior, Eileen?
Well, I mean, this sounds pretty, this sounds like something out of an economics textbook.
Well, it
the
probably
study
is.
of the process involved when people select, purchase, use, or dispose of products, services, or experiences to satisfy wants and needs.
And, it all comes down to wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's understanding what is different between a want and a need.
Exactly. And if we can understand what makes consumers buy or purchase or want or need something, then that actually helps us determine our business plan and our business strategies, and in particular, our marketing strategies, because that changes everything. So in understanding why the consumer is drawn to what they're drawn to, it will make a huge difference in your business plan. So this is really important information. So yeah, this seems a little bit, economically driven, but we want you to really understand how important this topic is to us as salon and spa people.
Yeah, and it's really all comes down to how well do you know your customer?
That's it exactly, right?
Yeah. How well? So why should we study consumer behavior?
Well,
your favorite thing, Eileen.
I know.
The 80-20 rule.
The 80-20 principle, it applies everywhere we go, no matter what industry we're in. In fact, no matter what it is that you do. 80% of revenues, productivity, or whatever you want to call output, whatever, comes from 20% of either the participants or the market or whatever. Yeah. So even in your own salon, if you take a look at who's producing the most revenue, who's the most productive person, you will find that your top 20% of your team produce 80% of the revenues.
Yeah. And conversely, if you go into your system and you look at the top 20% of your client base, those top producers. So if you have 100 clients, that would be the 20 people at the top of your, the people that spend the most money with you every year. Those are the people that you need to be honing in on. And that's what this is all about, is understanding those people.
Exactly, because when we understand the behavior of those top 20 people, it can drive our marketing strategies and drive how we determine how our business is going to work on a day-to-day basis. And let's face it, in our business, we are all about building long-term relationships.
The longer, the better.
The longer, the better, and the more money you get. And if you really think about the amount of money that you receive from a client on an annual basis, you understand the importance of a long-term relationship.
Yeah. And it's not a one-off, and that's what we see a lot of. It's it's just the one-off, get them in for that one time. But that's why we talk about client retention.
Exactly. Because let's face it, it's surprising. You don't need a tremendous amount of clients that you take care of on a regular basis to develop a fantastic business. However, imagine that if every single client was a one-time client. You're talking about
Yeah.
12 or 1,500 clients that you'd have to see every year.
That's like
Oh.
being on a hamster wheel.
Oh, that would be frightening.
And the other thing about studying consumer behavior is really, bottom line is, we're trying to increase our profits. So knowing intimately your consumer and the people who are spending the money with you, knowing intimately what their habits are and how to market to them, that is gold.
It's everything. And we need to understand why they are shopping with us as well. So it's not just what they are buying, it is why they are buying. Because like we started out with, there's a difference between needs and wants. There's lots of things that people need, but of course what we often find out is they buy what they want.
Truly.
Well, let's get started on taking a look at consumer behaviors, Kath, because it is pretty scientific in lots of ways. There's things that you really want to sit down and do and analyze your client base.
Yes.
And these are some of the things that you really want to look at.
So remember, when we're talking today, I want you to think about your top 20% of your client base. We're not talking about every single client that is coming in the door. We want you to segment those top 20% out, and then you're going to look at factors that are, what's the word I'm trying to find, Eileen, that are common to those clients. And you will find that there is a theme to those, those particular clients. So you want to segment them out. You want to know who they are. You want to know their age. You want to know their gender. What's their family structure and family status?
So by that we mean, are they married, single, bachelors, widow, widowed, so many things. Like really take a look, because it does have an influence.
Definitely. And always income.
Absolutely.
There are different income levels, and where are those clients coming from? Which segment of the population are those clients coming from as far as their income goes? Ethnicity is a big one.
It is, because what we find is that different cultures have different buying habits. It's really surprising, but by understanding that, it does help us gear and target our market.
Absolutely. And then geography. Where do you live?
How far are they traveling to come and see you? Like that's a huge driver, right? So it's really important to understand that part as well.
And what motivates them to buy. And then, some of the psychographics that go with that whole section is, so the way that we feel about ourselves. We need to know what are the things that they value? What do they do in their spare time? I think that's a big one.
Well, I think
for us.
Well, it is as the professionals providing the fashion guidance and beauty for our clients. We really need to understand their lifestyles as well. Are they professionals? Are they athletes? Are they, what do they do in their spare time? Do they need to be able to pull their hair up in a ponytail? I mean, I know it sounds pretty simple, but it does affect the decisions that our clients make on a regular basis.
Totally. And then what is, how much time do they have to spare? Like, time is a big factor. We know that, Eileen.
Absolutely. We're continually struggling to find time to do this or to do that. And
the timing of it makes it, you can look at your clients, those top 20%, and find out, like, when are they coming in to see us, so that that you can structure your hours around that.
You might find that, for example, perhaps you cater to a large group of professionals, and you find that, yes, they're the ones that are booking after 5 o'clock appointments or whatever. So that you're going to need to, perhaps, if you want to draw in more of that, you're going to perhaps need to, say, change some of your salon hours.
Yeah.
So you can start to understand why this information is so important, because it determines how you're going to put together your business.
Yeah. And what's their motivation? Are they looking to Are they trying to impress people, business people? You know, they have to have a certain image or a certain aura.
They do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I think about my two images, Catherine, about slopping around the house in my Olympic Canada sweatshirt that I've had for how many years since we had the Olympics here, 2010. It's an old ratty thing, and I love that. I would never dare go out of the house with that. I dress to impress.
You do always dress to impress, Aileen. All right. So this is how we're going to segment out our consumers. And now let's talk about something that Aileen loves.
I love the avatars. I got really hooked on avatars during the movie Avatar.
Yeah. Completely different.
Because a marketing avatar is probably one of the most important things that we sit down and analyze. Now, when Catherine and I talk about analyzing your top 20 people and finding the commonality amongst them, this is what you get. You actually end up determining this one person. Mm-hmm. And so we call it an avatar because you find that, oh, you know, look, our top 20, they tend to be in this age category. Mm-hmm. Maybe the average age of your top 20 is 38. You might find that they're within a certain income bracket. So you start to develop this picture of this one person.
And that becomes, or she or he becomes your avatar.
Exactly. And we really think that, you know, by knowing your ideal client, you give them a name and a face. So when you start your marketing campaigns, you are marketing to this particular person.
Yeah.
Right?
So it gives you an idea of who it is that you're targeting, because we can't target everyone.
No.
And we talk about this time and time again.
And one of the things that, you know, we run into, Catherine, is when we're talking to salon owners and stylists, they say, well, you know, we have everybody of all ages coming into our salon. And yes, that's exactly what happens. But if you know understand the bell curve, which is it looks like a big giant bell. And what you do is you target market for the very top section, for your avatar, your Jane Doe.
Yeah.
But what happens is that you end up getting clients in from both sides of the bell slope. So some will fall below an income bracket, some will fall above an income bracket, some will fall below an age, some will fall over an age. But the majority of your clients will come from your avatar profile.
Totally. And I know that most of the big companies all work with avatars. I know Walmart does. And what's really interesting about Walmart is they actually target a higher end client. Is that not interesting to you?
That is actually very interesting to me, Catherine, because I'm kind of in love with Walmartians.
All right, you are crazy. But they do. I mean, Walmart actually target people in the $60,000 bracket.
Well, you know, isn't that interesting? But perhaps they see that, you know, that avatar is more focused on perhaps budget spending so that they have more disposable income to do other things.
Very true. I just found that really interesting.
Well, and you know, now that you've mentioned it, I do have to say that I have quite a few friends who are in the upper income bracket. Then they do shop at Walmart for their groceries. They find that they can get better deals on canned goods, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's got to be true.
Well, their avatar is called Judy.
Judy, I love that. And speaking of being avatars, really think about the type of marketing that you receive online or in the mail or whatever. You've been targeted by somebody.
Yes, absolutely. But again, so what we're saying is and you can get all this information from your Vagaro system. Look at the top 20% of your client base. And in that top 20%, you are going to do some detective work.
Yep.
Figure out what is the common thread with each one of those people. And then you are going to develop your avatar from there.
You got it. And we want you to give it a name, dress it up, create it, so you've got it in your head.
You always, everything you do is to let's call her Jane Doe.
Right.
So everything you do is targeted towards Jane Doe, because you may have a lot of other people, you know, in a lot of other age brackets and but it's the people who are bringing in the most money for you. That's where Jane Doe is. That's where Jane Doe lives, and that's who you want to get more of.
And exactly, because even when you look at your current database, you'll find that, yes, you've got that top 20%, but you still have 80% of these other clients who fall into different categories. So do you see what we're saying? Is that even when you focus on your top 20%, you're still going to get people from all ages and et cetera. So don't think that you're actually limiting your market. You're focusing your market.
And, you know, it's good to be laser focused. What you focus on grows.
Law of attraction.
It is the law of attraction.
And you move towards what you focus on.
I guess that's what I was trying to say. Eileen, thank you.
You know, that whole thing, you know, the law of the mind. You move towards what you focus on. Because, anyways,
too true.
We'll have to do a whole new webinar on laws of the mind.
Yes, I know you. We both are big believers in that. So avatar. So what we need you to do is we need you to go to your system. We need you to figure out those top clients, and then we need you to put a name and a face to one person, and that's who you're going to understand. You want to understand those people. This Jane Doe is going to be indicative of the people, the client base that you're after.
Exactly. I love that, because you know, there's a reason why Walmart goes after that avatar of the 60,000, because they carry the brands that people recognize, and they know that they can get a better deal on it. And surprisingly, though, that people say in lower income levels also want those brand names.
Yeah. But they don't cater to every single person. Their avatar is not to every single one. They have decided this is going to be their avatar. They market to that, and it attracts all the other people. You
got it. So, I like it. I'm heading to Walmart later today.
No, not me. I'm going to the beach.
I think you might have more fun than I will.
All right. So moving right along, how do people get into their decision-making process?
Yes. What causes a consumer to make that decision to purchase something, anything?
And usually they have a problem.
For sure. You know, when we talk
they
about,
recognize problem.
Yeah. Well, you know, we always talk about it in sales, what selling is all about healing a pain. Mm-hmm. So that means that the consumer has recognized that they've got a problem. That we call it creating a pain, right? That there's something that's going wrong. Like, so for example, in our industry, problem recognition, that would be my hairstyle sucks.
Or, you know, I'm getting lines in my face. I'm aging. You know, those are problems.
They are problems, and people worry and fuss about things. Yeah. I need a new hairstyle for a business meeting. My hair color is fading and I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable. I've got lip lines or whatever. There's just so many reasons why people have pain or problems within our industry.
Absolutely. And so what they do after they recognize that they have this, they then get in the information mode. They're searching for information.
Yes. And where do they go for that?
Well, these days they go to the internet.
You got it. You got it. Your fingers no longer do the walking so much, right? Or I guess your fingers do the walking, because
you're typing.
You're typing, right?
Yeah.
So they are doing their information search online, and the statistics, I think it's like 90% of consumers find their answers online.
Yeah. And the one thing today is when consumers walk in your door, they are way, way, way more educated than they ever were in the past.
Yeah, and that changes everything as well, because they know what they're looking for. They have brand recognition already in their head. It's a different kind of challenge in today's market. You must understand what brings the consumer into your business.
Yeah. And so the next thing they go into after they've done all their information searching is they go into an evaluation of alternatives. So basically they're looking to decide, am I going to go in to see this person, or am I going to go in to see this person? You know, like, what is it? So this, you offer one thing, your competitor offers something else, and they evaluate all of that before they ever walk in your door.
Exactly. And I mean, some of the things they may be looking for are geography. Perhaps they're looking for a salon in either their home neighborhood or their business neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, and then they narrow it down from there. Well, this salon deals with this salon has that salon has whatever else. And they start to hone their choices down.
Yeah. And so we talk about product choices. That's where they're getting to. They're making that choice before they ever walk in your door.
And when we talk about product choices, we're also talking about services as well, the type of services that you offer. So, all of this. So what is the number one thing that you really understand out of this is that if you do not have an online presence, you are missing a huge segment of the market.
If you do not have a good online presence.
Let's clarify that, shall we?
A good online presence. And the one thing that I really just want to interject here, Aileen, is that we have pounded into people for so long that you cannot be all things to all people. Pick what you are good at.
And that's also why we have that avatar, right?
Yeah. And then focus on that. So if you are a salon who caters to professional women, that's what you should be all about.
And that's what your marketing is going to focus on. So when a professional person goes online to start doing that information research, they are going to find you.
Because you appeal to them.
Exactly, because you put your focus there. So that you're going to have a better chance of capturing that market. If you are all things to all people, you end up being nothing to anyone.
Exactly. And then in their last part of their decision-making process is the outcome. It's like, where do they go? That's where they're going to go. That's where they're heading, and let's see how that works out.
And we talk about the savvy consumer,
mm-hmm.
and I think this is where it really comes in, is because the savvy consumer is doing their research. They aren't just usually walking into your salon blind.
No, they are not. And I will tell you, being in the hair loss business as well, we get people that have done tremendous amounts of research before they ever walk in our door. Not all of it that's out there on the internet is actual truth. But we need to be able to understand where they're coming from and educate them, because if we can't answer those questions, then they lose faith in us immediately.
Exactly. Because again, going back to that problem recognition and that pain they are feeling, particularly in the hair loss business, it's a painful process, right? We have to be able
So it's an emotional process.
Exactly. So we have to be able to heal their pain.
Yes. And some of them it's very, very painful. So moving right along. So why are they coming in? What motivates them? We talked about a problem, but I mean, there's lots of different reasons why people come in. So you need to find out. They're going to an event, there's a special occasion, unmanageable hair, relaxing, pampering, anti-aging, hair loss. They got a gift certificate. These are all reasons that people are coming through your door. And we need to understand, that's need recognition.
Exactly. So again, when you're analyzing your top 20%, really take a look at what it is that they're coming in for on a regular basis. Find out what it is, because again, what that tells you is the type of services that you need almost in a percentage,
mm-hmm.
right? So you can say, okay, well, 20% of the time my top group is coming in for a special event updo.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know that, okay, and if they're coming in the evenings, that means we have to have a certain specialist on duty. It helps you hone your services.
Yeah. And it also, and something else that just popped up when you were talking about that, Aileen, is it allows you, when you segment out your client base like that, it allows you to survey those people.
Yeah.
and ask them, what is it that you love about us? What are some other things that you would like us to offer? Like, really cater to them.
Exactly.
I can't stress it enough.
I know. And here's the thing is that, you know, because I think often that business owners think, oh, you know, first of all, surveys take a lot of work. How do I do that? All this kind of thing, right? But the power of the survey is so strong. And guess what? From a client point of view, most clients are pleased to be asked their opinion.
Yeah.
If they're coming to you, they want to be there, and they want to share what they know of you, and they're happy to tell you what you can do to improve your services. And that's one of the strongest things we can do to improve consumer behavior.
And then we're going to move right into the criteria that people are using to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had coffee, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, I could talk really fast right now, but
so the criteria that people are using when they are evaluating you. So your location.
Location is crucial.
Yeah. Price. And I think price is kind of down further in the equation.
Yeah, and we can actually talk about price, but we'll wait till it comes up, because it comes up a bit later.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah.
And then hours of operation, huge. Because if you have a client base of little old ladies, excuse me, but you know, the little old lady, the retired person, a lot of times they're going to come in the mornings to late afternoon. If you have professional women, chances are they're going to come late afternoon into the evening.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that your hours of operation fit your ideal client.
You got it.
Your avatar.
Exactly. So again, you can start to see how all of this ties together on running your business.
And experience. Well, if they haven't been in, they don't know what the experience is, but the experience that they have when they research you.
Start thinking about this, because of course we talk about customer guest experience on a regular basis, mm-hmm. and how to create that exceptional experience. Well, it starts with first contact, and nowadays that first contact is online.
Yeah.
So the experience of going through your website, one of my pet peeves, and I just got to throw this out there, because one of my pet peeves in searching through salon and spa websites is that the phone number is really hard to find.
Oh, I drives me crazy when it gets buried.
So number one, if you do nothing else, you guys, check out your website and make sure that your phone number is in a prominent position.
Make it easy for people.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that people read reviews.
Yes, they do.
And if you are not asking for reviews and you're not putting your reviews online, you are making a mistake.
And, they can be written reviews. You can post them on your blog site or whatever. Get them
Facebook
out there.
Page.
Everything.
Yeah. Make sure that you're getting those things. So, and that all comes into experience. Because if I go to a website and it's frustrating for me, I immediately kind of just leave it.
Yes.
I don't enjoy it. I leave it.
Yeah. Because
and I will say one thing, one of our head office, had been doing some work with their main site. And I can't tell you how many people have said to me lately, your website is very confusing. And immediately we got on it, because you can't be confusing to people. They will leave.
Exactly. And speaking of that, just a quick reminder here too, because websites are so important. Your website must, and I say must, be mobile friendly.
Yes.
You cannot, because all these people are looking for your information, and they're usually doing it on a small screen. So it must be mobile friendly. If it isn't, you're wasting your time, because anybody who has to pinch a website isn't going to be bothering.
Yeah, it's really difficult. And I mean, we have iPhone 6S's, the big ones.
Yeah.
And even in that, it's annoying.
It is. So,
and then some people, depending on the avatars that you have, kid friendly might be very important to them.
Because if it, and this can go both ways, because people may not want to be in a salon with children, and other people are looking for salons that are child friendly.
Yeah, but that your avatar will tell you, like when you do your research, that's going to tell you what your clients are looking for. And then Eileen's favorite, dog friendly.
Oh my gosh, my eyes are rolling to the back of my head. I'm not really, I love dog and cat videos, but I'm not really a pet person,
And you're not a fan of dogs in the salon.
No, I'm not.
However, more and more and more these days, that is a criteria that people search for. I mean, I have had people call me and say, "Can I bring my dog?"
Yeah.
And I go, well, we're,
I know you really hesitate because I think that, with the work that we do, I really believe that, we're all about cleanliness, sanitation, giving a really expert service. And I'm not really sure that I believe that animals are a real part of that process. That's just my personal opinion.
And a lot of owners bring their dogs in, and people love them.
They do.
So it's personal.
It is.
It's a personal, very personal thing. But again, your avatar will tell you what it is that your people are looking for.
Yeah. And I mean, I do have to say that I was seeing a stylist who had a little dog. And when I went in, the dog was sitting in my lap, and I actually really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I know.
But it was a little dog.
It was a little dog. Not a big dog.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving right along. Now you have your criteria, so you're able to look at that objectively. So what is the real value of happy customers?
Well, they sing and dance.
They sing your praises, and that's what we want.
Well, I think this first point here is the biggest thing. 78% of customers are willing to pay more for products or services if they experience great customer service.
Yes, they definitely will do that. I have a story around this. I visited a winery, and everybody knows I love my wine. So I went to visit this winery in the Comox Valley. And when I walked in, it was packed with people, packed. There was one seat left at the bar for the wine tasting. And this gentleman came up and started talking to me. And I said, I really like champagne style wines. And he was so excited about that he started talking to me all about what they make. He went in the back. He went right away from the tasting that they had for that day, went in the back, opened a bottle of bubbly so that I could taste it, and then came back with another one that was a higher end one. I had such a great experience when I was in that winery. I ended up joining their wine club.
That's awesome.
So they turned something that was, I may have bought, and I go to lots of different wineries, but I may have bought 3 bottles of wine.
Right.
And, and I may occasionally have bought a bottle in town. But because of the experience that I had, I was so impressed with them. I joined their wine club. So now they're probably going to get about $1,500 a year from me.
Exactly.
Because they send me wines every 3 months.
I love that.
So that's a happy customer.
It is. But I just want to clarify something here, because so many of us think that we offer great customer service. But in a general survey, it was found that although 90% of small business owners believed that they offered exceptional customer service, 80% of their customers disagreed with them. They did not provide exceptional service. Yeah. So who's right here?
Well, and I'll throw a caveat into the story that I just told you. It turns out that the gentleman that was waiting on me was the owner of the business.
Ah.
And he said, they normally don't let me up here. He's the winemaker. He, is usually in the back. But he was so interesting and so accommodating and so lovely. That's why, my experience was fabulous. A couple of weeks later, I sent my son and his partner to the same winery, and they didn't have the same experience. They had a lady who was brand new.
Oh, ouch.
And they said, the surroundings and everything were lovely, but, they were kind of a little, well, it was a different experience.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to stress. Like, I mean, I left there probably feeling no pain, because he was giving me, like, not just a little tiny bit, but he was filling up my glass pretty well.
Because let's face it, any consumer who's had at least a glass of wine or beer or whatever is far more willing to part with their money.
But again, it's just about the experience, and you need to be thinking about that.
Well, and here's the other thing that brings to mind is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Because, if you have to think about the quintessential perfect experience, which the wine owner gave you.
Yeah.
Every single person who is standing in front of one of his consumers should be giving exactly the same kind of service to every single person. So consistency is the most important thing you can do. If you've got one service provider doing one thing and another service provider doing another thing, and you all of a sudden lose your consistency, and then who knows what kind of reviews you're getting.
Yeah. So anyway, just a little story. I always think it's nicer when you have some stories to kind of illustrate a point, and I think that illustrated it really beautifully.
It does.
And good service these days travels really fast via social networking.
Holy smoly.
But so does bad.
Yes. Unfortunately, statistics tell us that 8 out of 10 good reviews never go anywhere. Nobody says anything. But give somebody a bad service, and oh my gosh, the entire world is going to know about it in a heartbeat.
Yes, and that we'll get onto in the next couple of slides. So,
yes.
So a consumer's after purchase behavior. So they can either be not satisfied, which we don't want them to be.
No.
They can be very satisfied. They can experience buyer's remorse.
Right. And that's really easy to do. I mean, in fact, Kath, I think about the time that you had extensions put in your hair.
Oh, God.
And it was a very expensive process to do,
mm-hmm.
right? And after a couple of days, you thought, oh my gosh, I just can't live with this. It's just not right for me.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden now you've got buyer's remorse. It seemed like a great idea at the time. I thought they looked fabulous, by the way, but I wasn't wearing them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the feel of them, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That was buyer's remorse.
Yes.
We've all bought something that we've thought, oh God, geez. What did I just do? And sometimes you can take it back, and sometimes you can't, right? A big thing for me in the hair loss business is we sell lasers that people use at home.
Right. And
we really try and educate people about, what their expectations should be and everything else. But I mean, they go from $750 to $1,000.
Right.
And the majority of people take them and are great with it. But you will get that certain few that, like a month later, they're like going, oh my God.
Right.
Now they want to return it. Right?
Yeah.
So there's always that. But one thing, and we talk about follow-up, because I will tell you, I'll go back to that winery again. So I signed up for their wine club, and there was a cutoff date to get the September shipment. Well, I was after the cutoff date. So I assumed that I wasn't going to get anything until the December shipment. They phoned me. They didn't email me. They phoned me and said, thank you for signing up for our wine club. I know that it was after the date for September, but if you like, we can send you out the September shipment.
That's awesome.
And I said, I would like that. So guess what? They got another $300 from me that they might not have got.
Yeah.
So I said, that would be lovely. I was thrilled but they took the time to phone me. That's follow-up.
And I think often what happens, like especially with in our industry, because it's service and it's a personal service, right?
Mhm.
That we're sometimes afraid to follow up because we're afraid of the feedback we might get. We have a fear of our own success or a fear of our own failure, and I think that it behooves us all to sort of get a bit tougher in a way, get a tougher
Yeah.
skin,
Yeah.
and make sure you follow up with your clients, especially if, for example, if you've given um, an existing client a new color that they're not sure of,
Mhm.
or you've given a new client a radical change or something.
When
Follow up.
I'm going to ask one question, and I want you all to think about it and be really honest. When was the last time you followed up on one of the clients who are your top 20%?
Uh-huh. Good question.
Yeah. So that's just one I want you to mull over. And their after purchase behavior, positive reinforcement. They go out, they get positive reinforcement from their
Catherine,
friends, their
those
family.
extensions look fabulous on you.
Oh, thank you so much, Eileen. Now help me take them out.
Which I did.
But positive reinforcement, they get lots of positive reinforcement. On the other side,
They get negative
they can get
reinforcement.
negative reinforcement.
And let's face it, I hate to say
and
this.
that's why follow-up comes into play.
Exactly, because, I hate to say it, Kath, but honestly, the human being is an odd creature because we are far more willing to tell somebody that they look dreadful than we are willing to tell them they look beautiful.
Yep.
Somebody changes their hair and their friends say, oh, you went with that color?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So,
and for us, what we want to do is send them out thank you letters because that is, again, positive reinforcement.
You got
correct?
It. Thank you for being here.
Follow-up phone calls. You may be afraid to do it, but, ante up and do it. It's going to help. What do we do with dissatisfied clients?
Because, no matter what you do, you guys, you are going to have dissatisfied clients because you cannot please all the people all the time. And even your best clients, you put the wrong toner in or whatever it is. You cut their bangs crooked. There's all sorts of things that we do that our clients feel dissatisfied about. Sometimes it's not even about any mistake that you made, but their own emotional situation.
Absolutely. And usually they'll let us know they'll voice it in a 2 or 3 different ways. So voice response is they will come back and they will say, I am not happy. I welcome that because I will tell you, there are far more people do the second on here is the private response. They'll talk to friends, family, and anyone who will listen and never come back. So when somebody takes the time to call and say, I'm not totally happy, I am thrilled.
You got it.
Come on back in.
You got it. Because listen, if you can solve a problem, you've got a customer for life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in problem solving that people see to the heart of you. And when you can solve a problem, I truly believe that give me a problem, I've got a new customer. Mm-hmm. I love problems.
And that's really, we have to ante up in it, and we have to be able to solve the problem. Do not, and so many times we've seen and we've heard people that just will not deal with a client problem. It's like their problem.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. They just, and I think we got to have a bit of a backbone and understand that it isn't about us, it's about the client, and we need to work with the client.
And these days, the third and final one is third-party response, and we have become a very litigious society.
And we want to sue somebody.
Yes, so we have to, and then again, that's why you really want to go above and beyond in trying to appease a dissatisfied client.
Yes, and remember that solving a problem is the best thing that you can do. You'll have a client for life, and they will tell their friends that when you solve a problem. That's really when they'll step up and pass on the positives.
Yeah, and let's move right along. So sensations and perceptions, and this is a biggie for consumers because, they do all their pre-work in determining to come in, but it's what happens when they walk through that door. Even before they walk through the door, they are going to form an opinion based on the outside.
Well, and not just
So if
that,
you walk
like
up,
they will figure out, oh my gosh, parking is great, parking is bad. Like just even in the arrival thing, it's
yeah,
like, oh gosh, like, oh gosh, parking is really easy. This is great.
yeah.
Love that.
And then they walk in the door, and I will tell you, their five senses come into play.
You got it.
So sight, what they see with their eyes; sounds, what they hear with their ears; smells, what they're smelling with their nose.
Ooh, that's a big one in our business.
Yeah. And taste. In our business, maybe not so much taste, because I don't serve anything to eat.
No, but
I do have chocolate.
But smell and taste are often related. Yeah. So your taste buds are actually in work when you are actually smelling things as well, because they start to
That's
go.
true, Eileen. Never thought about that. Mm-hmm. And textures, how it feels to their skin, mm-hmm. to their head, so all different types of all their five senses. So it's all about exposure, attention, and interpretation.
And don't forget too that when they've done their research online and you've presented a certain character or what's the word I want? Image on your online image. You really want to be able to make sure that image carries through to your salon. Oh, it has to be really consistent. What you're presenting out there, you've really got to create in the salon.
So you have to be very aware, and I know we've talked about this on previous webinars. What you have to be very aware of is a brand new person walking in your door. What do they see? What do they hear? What smells are greeting them? And,
well, and even when you talk about the textures of skin, it's like, like that could be temperature of the salon. Is it too warm? Is it too cold? Is there a chill in the air? All these things. There's been so much research done on consumer behavior. So, for example, it would be really important to understand which, like when consumers walk into a retail outlet, generally speaking, their eyes go to their right and they look at eye level. So how that translates for you is to really think, okay, what's the first thing they see when they walk into a salon? What is that first thing on the right-hand side at eye level? And that's got to be one of the most powerful tools that you have in your bag, is to make sure that piece, that square footage, that geography is appealing to the client.
There's the word, appealing.
Yeah.
But we also have to think about the smell, because for me, smell is a big thing.
Absolutely. I ran into a real problem with some of the nail technician aromas, shall we say.
Oh yeah, probably with acrylic.
With acrylic nails or like some of the odors, they are extremely unpleasant. Yeah. And, so it behooves you to understand, like, okay, that's an offensive odor. I really need to have a great air cleaner.
Yeah. And we work a lot with cancer patients.
Yes.
And people going through chemotherapy, their sense of smell is sometimes really heightened, and they cannot tolerate smell. So we have to be really aware of that. I don't wear perfume or anything to work because it really bothers. It can bother people.
It exacerbates their pain.
Yeah.
So, we don't want to do that. So I know as weird as it might sound, these are things that are all part and parcel of the presentation that you're putting out there and the image that you want to present.
And they are a big part of consumer behavior.
You got it.
All right. The learning process. So learning. It's a relatively permanent change in behavior caused by experience. It's all about experience. And products plus memory equal brand equity loyalty. Burn that into your brain. Products plus memory equals brand equity or loyalty.
Okay, so what does that really mean when it comes to the salon business? Let's just really take a look at that, shall we? Okay, because to me, what I see this, where this is most powerful is in the back bar.
Yes, right? I would agree.
So you take somebody to the back bar and you are shampooing them with your fabulous shampoo. And as a client, you can hear the sound of the suds. You can smell the aroma of the shampoo. You can experience the feel of the head massage as they are shampooing your hair. And you are learning about the product as that educated service provider is explaining why you've chosen that product for them. So there's this whole encompassing experience going on at the sink.
Yeah.
And believe me, when you engage all the senses like that, what does that mean? I want that product.
Totally. Totally. And it's all engaged.
Exactly.
So think about it. But again, it's all, the word for me, experience, is like our guest path experience needs to be honed. It needs to be seamless, because that is where you are going to catch people and keep them. Moving right along, because our time is getting short. We told you it was going to be a long one today.
Okay. Income and social status.
So,
ew, darling, do pass me the champagne.
Well, I do love champagne. But we have to understand, where our clients are coming from. What are their attitudes towards luxury?
Right. Because no matter what your target market is, a lot of your clients will perceive that having their hair done in a salon is a luxury service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of them may. And that's why you really need to break it down and see where your clients are coming from.
Exactly.
And, are they looking at luxury as a reward? A lot of people do. Like, they see it as, I've made it. I can afford to come and have a blowout every week. I can afford to have facials on a monthly basis. Those nails. Nails. And I will admit, I'm a bit of a princess. I get my eyelashes, I get eyelash extensions, I have my nails done. I'm a 3-weeker with those.
Exactly. I can't live without my nails.
I know.
I just love them.
We could, but we choose not to. But to us, that's luxury.
Yeah.
It's indulgence.
It is. And I do see it as a reward, because it isn't something that I did when I was younger. I didn't really feel like I could afford it. Now that I can, I think I love to be able to have these small indulgences.
Yeah. Yeah. And so luxury is an indulgence, lavish and self-indulgent.
You got it.
And for some people, luxury is functional.
Okay, now my nails are really functional.
But they see it as logical and not impulsive. For a lot of people, they just feel that buying the best is a very good investment.
It is. And I mean, actually, when it comes to fashion, for example, I really believe in buying myself good clothes, because I think that it's an investment not only in my business, because I look good and it increases my confidence or whatever, but I also know that by buying superior products, they're going to last longer. Yeah. And I see it as an investment.
True.
Right. And that's how, like I think about, my hair, like working in the beauty industry. I have to have beautiful hair. I always want my hair to look great, as do you.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's part of who we are. It's part of our persona. It's a must.
Yeah. And when you're deciding who your ideal client is, your avatar is, they're going to fall in either the upper, the middle, or lower class. And it depends on the type of salon, your geography, everything else. But you're going to fall in one of, the client is going to fall in one of those 3 areas. Now, upper class, you've got the top 1%, and that's the top of the top of the top.
You got it.
And there are the other people that are still upper class, same in the middle and in the lower class. But I will tell you, 95% of people are targeting the middle class.
Yep. And again, within each of these classes, there's still subclasses. So you've got your upper and lower upper class, you've got upper and lower middle class, upper and lower class. So, you've got 6 segments that you can actually target, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, the middle class is a large segment. But what are you going to be? Yeah. But what are you going to do to make yourself stand out? What are you going to do to differentiate from the rest of the crowd? Because that tells you, right?
Yeah. And that is what, going back to creating an avatar and understanding that person. And this is what this is about. It's understanding your consumer. And we all have different type of consumer. It's understanding your consumer and what they want. That is going to help you to increase your profits, keep your clients long term, because you have an understanding of who it is you're dealing with.
Exactly.
So
well said.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is, why do we buy?
Why do we buy? I buy because I like to buy.
Yeah, I like to buy products to hide aspects of
self. So truly, most people buy products to highlight or hide aspects of self.
For sure.
You know, in the hair loss business, most people are buying products to hide
their loss of hair.
Right.
So I'm buying to highlight my hair to hide the gray.
Oh, there you go. And they're buying to create an ideal self versus an actual self.
True, because in so many ways, consumers, we always, Kath and I have an expression that's always, fake it till you make it. And, if and as I said, like, if you see me slop around the house, well, there's no way I could go out and do business, slopping around in my sweatshirt. I have to create this ideal self of this business persona so that I can create the success for myself. So, you can see the difference between the ideal self and the actual self.
Mm-hmm. Totally. But we have to figure out what is ideal.
Exactly, because it's going to be different for each and every one of you.
So you need to ask questions.
Are you a professional athlete, or are you a lawyer, or so there's all these different things, because each one is going to have a different ideal.
So asking questions, you need to try and figure out for your avatar what is ideal. And ideals of beauty change over time.
Yes.
God knows we've been around for a long time, Eileen, and things have changed dramatically over the years, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
So we need to.
How old are we? No.
So we need to change with the times.
You got it. So you've got to stay on top, right? And then there's always that stereotype, right? What is beautiful is good. It ain't so necessarily, no. But it is just something that is out there.
It is.
And we have to recognize it. And you are what you consume.
Well, that's, for a lot of people, that's the behavior. I will admit I consume a lot of wine. And I really enjoy my wine. Well, and I don't mind spending on a really good bottle of wine.
And I've noticed with this lovely glow of tan that you've got, this kind of a champagne colored tan.
But it's all about what drives us, what makes us feel good, correct?
Exactly.
And we buy to fulfill basic needs.
We do. I mean, in the end, we talk about the difference between needs and wants. People have a tendency to buy what they want rather than what they need. However, our basic needs are food and shelter.
Yeah.
And of course, we are always going to buy for that. Right?
Yeah.
But people emotionally buy what it is that they want.
I agree.
Kath, I hate to tell you this. We are running out of time, and I'm going to suggest that we jump right over to the salesperson.
All righty. So let's skip over target market, because we have talked about target market all the way through.
And if you have any questions, as we said, in a minute, I'm just going to give you our information. But this is all about marketing. Presentation of the salon, of course, as you know. The atmosphere, I think we kind of went over that. Everything is important. The overall impression, the physical layout, all of it. It needs to be consistent.
And retail, we just have to touch this.
Okay,
retailing is here, because this is, I love this. I mean, we've talked about the store image, the personality of your store. I mean, that starts in your web store and goes right through to walking in. Your location, merchandise suitability. This is all targeted to your avatar. So, like whoever that person is, you need to target all of this towards that avatar.
I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that we can give you is to understand that your business is not about you. Your business is about the client who walks through your door.
Absolutely. And this retailing is theater.
That's what it's all about.
It all goes back to the 5 senses.
You got it.
That's all of that. So think about retailing as theater.
You got it. And last but not least, the salesperson, which is each and every one of us.
Absolutely. And every interaction involves an exchange of value at some level.
You got it. Whether it's a service or a product, there's an exchange. They are giving you a monetary reward for a product or service that you've exchanged.
Yeah. And the exchange of value could be the way you make them feel.
Well, I think that in our business, that is the number one reason why people continue to come back to us, is because of the way we made them feel.
Totally.
Right? I felt so rushed getting out of that salon, or I felt so thoroughly pampered. I felt spoiled when I was in there. So how did you make them feel? And that's an exchange of value.
Yeah, it totally is. And you know, it's all about the expertise, but likability comes into it, because if somebody likes you and you make them feel good, they will forgive you
a lot.
So and this part, Eileen, I love this because we talk about this all the time. Commercial friendship.
Yes.
Commercial friendship. We think because we touch people,
yep,
we immediately think that we're their friends.
Yeah. And you're not.
You're not. But you can have a commercial friendship.
Yeah.
But I think that if you actually use that term, I think it's brilliant.
It is, because then you can see that the distance that you need to maintain from your client, because we can't be friends with everybody. Yeah. And it is a commercial friendship. It's a business to business relationship.
Absolutely.
And yes, you know what? And there are going to be clients over the years that perhaps end up being one of your best friends, but that's something that develops. But it isn't something that happens overnight. But you know, keep your professional distance, you might say, and remember that this is a commercial friendship. And that's really what the relationship between
the buyer and seller is. Yeah, and the way you talk to them, the way you make them feel, and oftentimes people relate to people that feel like them.
You got it.
So remember, going back to your avatar, if you are trying to attract business women, you should dress like a businesswoman.
Exactly. Because people are attracted to to themselves in lots of ways.
Absolutely.
Right? You know?
But again, we've given you a lot of information, but there's a lot of homework here that you need to go back and you need to do some of this homework.
And if you want, again, Kath, could you go to the next slide? Because there's our information. If you have any questions, as I said, I'm sorry we didn't leave any time for questions today, but send us a note to info@theprofitablesalonowner.com. And Vagaro will also have a copy of this PDF. If you would like a copy, simply email them at support@vagaro.com. And they will send you a PDF of that. So you've always got the information at your fingertips. Now get to work, do your homework, and we will see you next month. Take care, everybody.
So have a great month.